Good evening and welcome to my stream. And if you're new here, my stream is all about living and working in Qatar. And for anybody that has been waiting for the stream to start, I do apologize. I'm running a few minutes late this evening. And what I normally do during the stream is I go through some news headlines that is relative to obviously Qatar and living here. So yeah, let's get into it. So basically, if nobody shows up to the stream, what I will do, this stream will still be there as video on demand. So you can basically just watch it as you see fit. But and if uh, if I normally have anybody during the stream and they ask me a bunch of questions, that's the reason why I do the stream in the first place, is to hopefully answer some of the questions that you might have on working in Qatar. However, as I've mentioned, if you come across the stream after it has been live and it's just on video on demand, you can always drop a comment in the comment section, and then I will try my best to answer any and all questions, which I normally do. Yeah. Okay. So what I will do, I will start off my first news article. So I just need to share the screen. Share the screen. Just one sec. Okay. So this is a bit of a saucy headline. So I figured let's start with something spicy as a first news article for the evening. So this article reads, and this is in the GulfTimes.com: Qatar rejects and condemns German minister's remarks on World Cup. Now, I honestly don't know what the German minister's remarks were, but let's see what he said. Okay, so we'll just go through this. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs summons German ambassador, hands him an objection memo. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned German ambassador Dr. Klaus Fischbach. I hope I am pronouncing that last name correctly, and handed him an objection memo expressing the state of Qatar's disappointment and complete rejection and condemnation of remarks made by the German Federal Minister of Interior, Nancy Faeser, on Qatar's hosting if the World of the World Cup. That's a typo. Of the World Cup Qatar 2022. The Minister of Foreign Affairs has also demanded a clarification on the remarks. The memo expressed Qatar's complete rejection of those remarks, which made towards a country whose hosting of the World Cup was justice done to a region suffering from an unjust stereotype of for decades, basically. Okay, so I don't know if they will actually say here what Dr. Claudius Fischbach actually said. But let's read on a little bit more. The memo also stressed that Qatar is determined to organize one of the best editions of the showcase, the region civilization and heritage to the World Cup. The memo highlighted that the remarks made by the minister ahead of her official visit to Doha next week was against diplomatic norms and conventions, especially in light of the distinguished ties between Qatar and Germany in all fields. Excuse me. Okay, so let's just finish it off here. Again, I will try to link this in the description. So if you want to read it at your own leisure, you can do that as well. The memo noted that the most prominent human rights groups and the UN agencies praised the reforms implemented by the state of Qatar in the labor field, given they were effective and long-term, as well as being the result of years of planning and studies. It also highlighted that the reforms included many labor laws and practices related to them. Okay, so I want to actually see. Just hold on. I'm actually trying to see if I can find the exact comments that the specific minister made. Anyhow, as I mentioned, the specific the specific sorry, multitasking, my brain switches off. As I mentioned, the specific news article will be linked in the description of the stream, so you can just check it out at your leisure. And we are back to full screen. Now, what I will do, again, if we currently don't have anybody in the stream, I will continue with these news articles and until I get a question. So let's head on to the next news article. I think I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so present. Now, I get this question quite a lot. So this is from the nationalnews.com. Now, just to clear it up, so hopefully if anybody has this question, they are going to come across the stream. So how to travel to Qatar without a World Cup 2022 ticket? Now, this question I get a lot. Like if somebody can still visit Qatar, even if they don't have a ticket. Now, the general understanding is obviously you have to have a World Cup ticket to be able to enter Qatar, and you'll have to have accommodation, you'll have to have your hire card sorted out, in addition to obviously a return ticket, amongst other requirements, right? So let's see what they say on the nationalnews.com regarding this. So within 5 weeks, obviously, as of the publishing of this article, the sporting spectacle kicks off. Excitement is building for FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, as well as the welcoming of fans. Just hold on 1 second. I want to just check one thing. Yep. Okay, so it's working. And I see we have somebody, Creature Feature Fan Edits is back in town, or back in a stream. I'm back in town. Yeah, back in YouTube land. So you can say it's back in town. Welcome, Creature Feature Fan Edits. You should check out his channel, by the way. He doesn't upload a lot, but the clips that he did upload on his channel, he basically recut some of the scenes of some of the popular movies that he loves. So re-edits it, and which is really cool. So it gives a whole new look and feel to the scenes. So just check it out. So let's continue with this article. So yeah, so as I mentioned, I get this question quite a lot. So as well as welcoming fans who manage to score match tickets for the tournament, World Cup also typically draws legions of non-ticketed fans who travel for the footballing festivity, and the celebratory atmosphere. This year, it looked like that wasn't going to be an option. Yeah, that's what most people think. Qatar Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy had previously said international visitors would be prohibited from traveling to the country unless they had a match ticket, right? This week, the rule changed. Now, this week was, excuse me, as of the publishing of this article. So let's see if we can find out when this article was basically published on the 14th of October. So a little over 2 weeks ago. So here's everything you need to know. Can anyone travel to Qatar during the World Cup? Travelers can fly to Qatar if they have a ticket for a match or are visiting under the Haya with Me plus 1+3 policy. This allows those traveling to Doha with a ticket for at least one football match to invite up to 3 non-ticketed friends or family to join them. People visiting under this scheme will still need an official ticket if they wish to attend any World Cup fixtures during their stay. I believe so, yeah. Because a lot of the fan zones requires the hire card, obviously, and even some residents will not be allowed to enter some of the fan zones if they don't have a ticket themselves. So how do you apply for approval to visit Qatar during the tournament? So all international travelers need to apply for their own hire card. If you don't have a match ticket, you'll need a voucher code from the main ticket holder to complete the online application. So if you are, th- let's say, three friends or family members of somebody who's already purchased a uh, World Cup ticket and obviously did all of the other requirements and is planning to fly to Qatar, then you should get basically the voucher code from that specific ticket and to complete your hire application. Yeah. So it is possible to travel to Qatar even if you don't have a match ticket, as long as you know somebody who's got a match ticket. And I'm not sure if you need to travel with that specific person on the same flight. Let's see. What do they say here? Do I have to pay to enter Qatar during the World Cup? Yes, there is a fee for the hire card. Applications cost 504 rials per person, and this is applicable to everyone aged 12 and over. So obviously, um, younger kids and adults will have to pay, and I believe this is the fixed rate. So $137 if you're outside of Qatar. Can children travel to Qatar for the World Cup? Let's see what they say. Non-ticketed travelers can be of any age, so long as you have their passport. Children under 18 can be added as a dependent or to an existing hire card. Application fee is applicable, but there's no fee to add children under 12. So only for children, let's say below 18 years old, but older than 12, is there like a fee that's applicable? Yeah. Can I take a shuttle flight to Qatar if I don't have a match ticket? Let's see. Travelers planning to visit Qatar for less than 24-hour period on the hundreds of shuttle flights operating daily from Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, Oman, and across cities across Saudi Arabia will need a hire card. Okay, so even if you only do like a 24-hour stopover, you do need a hire card. Sorry. Non-ticketed travelers are welcome to travel on these shuttle flights, but will also need pre-approved hire card to enter the country. So you do need a hire card, yeah? What can I see and do in Qatar during the World Cup? Okay. In addition to the 64 matches, let's just jump back to the stream. Yeah. In addition to the 64 matches being played during the event, visitors without matchday tickets can enjoy a festive atmosphere. More than 100 artists will play at 3 music festivals. Fan villages will host parties and cultural attractions such as Qatar Cultural Village. Really nice place, by the way. We live close to Qatar Cultural Village, the National Museum of Qatar, and I made a video about that as well. So check it out on my channel. And the Museum of Islamic Arts. I have not been there, ironically, and I've been here for almost 5 years. But I believe it's an amazing museum as well. So all of that will be open for visitors. All travelers who have an approved hire card will also have free access to Qatar's public transport during their stay, whether or not they are attending football matches, which will make sightseeing easier. Are hotels still available to book? Okay, this is quite a long article. So let's just do this last part of this article, this last question, and then we can continue. Yeah. With around 5 weeks to go until the world's biggest football tournament kicks off in Qatar, the final countdown is on. Now, as I mentioned, this article was posted on the 14th of October, so about 2 weeks ago. So now we have about 3 weeks left, and that's honestly quite scary that we have within 3 weeks we have about 1.2 1.5 million tourists descending on Qatar. Okay, but that's another story. Many hotels are fully booked for the tournament, but accommodation is still available and can be reserved via the official accommodation agency website. Travelers can book accommodation direct with hotels, travel agents, or holiday letting sites. Yeah. So you can book directly with the hotels or travel agents like booking.com, etc. Earlier this week, World Cup organizers added a third cruise ship to accommodate fans during the tournament. How many do they have now? I believe last time I checked, there was about 3 or 4. The MSC Opera will add an extra 1,000 extra cabins to the accommodation option in Doha. A cluster Okay, so one thing about the cruise ships that I'm really curious about, where where they will dock. And obviously it's a 1,000 cabin cruise ship, so in many of the cabins there's going to be more than one guest staying, right? So I'm assuming it's not going to be just 1,000 guests staying in 1,000 cabins. You're looking at maybe a couple of guests staying per cabin. So let's say round it off to 2,000 guests per cabin, right? Very rarely people will travel alone, I think. So that's like 2,000 people multiplied by 3 to 4 cruise ships. So 8,000 people is going to most likely exit that cruise ship on a daily basis, right? Of course, there's activities do on the cruise ship, not cruise ship, cruise ship. I hope YouTube doesn't censor me. So obviously, there's going to be activities do on the cruise ship while you are on there, right? But I'm sure a significant portion of the total number of guests will exit the cruise ship on a daily basis. That just sounds horrible. So, but again, I'm sure the cruise ships are really professional because they do this on like a regular basis where they would stop in various cities and there would be a um, like a process obviously involved for the guests to go off the ship to visit this whatever city or sites they have docked at, and obviously to let them back onto the ship, right? But yeah, it just sounds like it can be quite challenging. Earlier this week, the World Cup organizers added a third. Okay, we read that already. Cluster of luxury hotels is also gearing up to open before the tournament kicks off. Yeah, there's quite a few hotels that's still in pre-opening phase. I hope they will open because it's not easy opening a hotel here, including several five-star properties and Qatar's first all-inclusive concept. Okay, so again, this will be linked in the description if you want to read it on your own. Okay, so let's remove that. So we are back. Creature feature, are you still with me? I see you are. I'm assuming it's you that is here because I still see there's one person in the stream live at the moment. So let's move on to our next article. So obviously this specific article I'm going to read through now. If I can find it. Okay, I actually found it. Spanish football fan walking to Qatar arrested in Iran. Now I don't know if any of you read this article a while back. So this guy went missing for some time because he's I don't know where he started in. Obviously somewhere in Spain. He started walking from there to his destination is Doha. So I believe it's like 4,000 kilometers or miles. I'm not sure exactly, but it's some crazy amount, right? Now this guy went missing for a while, and obviously there was a concern because this guy was like posting on his social media his updates on where he actually is, right? So let's see. So I came across this article. So Spanish football fan walking to Qatar, I believe is the same guy, arrested in Iran. Santiago Sanchez Codego, oh my Cogador, oh my gosh, I think I butchered his last name. Mother says that Spanish foreign ministry confirmed her son was being held in Iran and was in good health. Okay. The Spanish fan who set out to walk to Qatar to watch the World Cup has been arrested in Iran. His mother says that after he dropped out of contact for several weeks, Santiago left his hometown near Madrid in January, hoping to make the epic journey in time for the competition. So this dude started in January. She was basically going to walk for 11 months to get to the World Cup. That is insane. There's no other words. Like I can only imagine what this dude had to go through. And obviously you have to battle the elements in addition to the distance. It's just crazy. But anyway, so the tournament begins on the 20th of November. So we started in January from Madrid, yeah. The Spanish foreign minister confirmed that he was being held in Iran and that his state of health was good. Cecilia Cogador told Spanish TV channel Trece. I don't know. I doubt that is correct. Late on Thursday. He's not politically involved. He does not belong to any political party. His father, Santiago Sanchez, said during an interview, he's not making any propaganda, neither for nor against any situation. The only thing that moves him is supporting Real Madrid, and that is hardcore, his father said. The Spanish ambassador to Iran is asking the Iranian authorities to visit Sanchez. Um, Sigurdur, his mother said, without saying what is he accused of or where he's being held. Now, if this dude knew he was going to walk through Iran, I would assume he most likely sorted out his papers beforehand, right? Because if he needs obviously a visa to walk through Iran. Now, the mere fact that he got to Iran tells me that he had the correct documentation in place. Now, the question is, why was he picked up? Now, obviously, here they don't specify what happened. There's been no official comment from the Iranian authorities. Sanchez Kogador has been documenting his journey on Instagram, and his last post on 1st of October, he said he was about to enter Iran from the northern Iraqi village. He then told his parents in a voice message that he was going to Tehran before heading to the port of Bandar Abbas to take a boat to Qatar. Oh my gosh, he was so close, yeah? If you don't set a date for your dreams, you don't realize them. Sanchez Kogador had said in one of his posts recording in January, recording his journey. You have to say on this day, I go and on what? Okay, sorry, let me read that again. You have to say on this day, I go and on this day I left. Okay. Oh my God, my brain. Iran has been gripped by 6 weeks of protests and a deadly crackdown by security forces after the death of the 22-year-old Masa Amini in custody. She has been arrested by the morality police for allegedly breaching Iran's dress code. Okay, yeah, this is what happened. Something really horrible happened to this lady, unfortunately. But yeah, that is it. So just something interesting. So this dude, hopefully, he's got 3 weeks left. So hopefully they can set him free because again, this dude was walking for what's it like 10 months to get to Qatar for the World Cup, and he's so close to close to Doha because he was basically just supposed to take a boat ride across, and then he would have reached Doha. Yeah, they don't. So Creature Feature Fan Edits was asking why was he arrested. Now in this article they don't say why he was arrested. So I'm really curious to know myself. So hopefully, if that information comes out, we can share it in another future stream. So we have 2 people in the stream. Welcome to whoever this new person is. So let's go on to another article, unless there's any questions. You might not have a question, but you might have a comment. So let me know. Okay, just one sec. So while I'm just prepping this article, the atmosphere in Qatar is actually amazing now. Like you can really feel we're getting closer and closer to the World Cup. There's these huge boards up, digital boards, where they would basically do a countdown to the hours, the days, the hours, minutes even, to when the kickoff is of the first game. And on top of that, there's all of the qualifying teams, their flags are everywhere. And then you have like some of the buildings, they have these projections of certain players on the building itself, so it looks really awesome. So the atmosphere here is really electric when it comes to the World Cup that is soon going to commence. And yeah, it's scary in a way because there's so many people coming, but also really exciting because it's something that Qatar has been working towards for how many years now, and they are finally getting towards the finish line. And I'm hoping and I'm praying and I have a feeling that this World Cup will be one for the record books because, again, as we all know, Qatar has been investing quite a lot into the infrastructure, into just making everything perfect. So planning obviously is one thing, and execution is a entirely different thing. But I have a feeling that this World Cup will be amazing and something special. Okay, okay, so we have 1 year regarding human rights. No, I'm not going to do that. This is the one I'm going to show. Okay. So before I go through this article, right, there was one, I believe it was 2 streams ago, where one of the news outlets that I was obviously reading an article on, it was international news outlet. So they basically mentioned that there's these really strict requirements that Qatar has basically announced for media, such as like your big media, your legacy media channels, right? Like BBC, CNN. So they were not allowed to obviously go to schools and to film in near the labor camps. Obviously, they are not allowed to film inside of the government buildings now. And there's a lot of other requirements. They cannot film inside of a private residence, even with the consent of the owner. So there was a lot of things that I can remember this article mentioned. Now, a few days after I did that live stream and read that article, Qatar actually mentioned that a lot of what was being said in that article was not true, and some of the points that was mentioned is actually points that has been laws that has been placed forever. And I can attest to the not allowed to film inside of obviously in and around government buildings. That is a obviously security breach. So um, nobody's allowed to film in and near government buildings. So that's something that's been in place already. So obviously there are a lot of other points that was brought up that was supposed to be new laws that was going to be or rules that is going to be implemented for the Qatar World Cup, and that is absolutely not true. So let me see if I can get across. I will see if I can make time for that article. So obviously it's important for me to highlight also um, if a article is not entirely correct, because again I will trust the article that is obviously posted by well-known uh, news outlets. So if ever it gets to a point where there's a correction of any of the articles, I will try to mention it either in the stream or like now, because obviously it's important to highlight if I've made a mistake, right? Okay, so we're gonna go through this another saucy article. And again, when I read any articles, I don't have any bias towards it or against any of the things that I read. I'm purely just bringing any relevant or interesting information related to Qatar, right? Because this is what my channel is all about: living and working in Qatar. So let's just see what this article says. Now, this is an international article from international news outlets. So obviously, it's worth noting that a lot of these news outlets, obviously, some of them will have an agenda. So it's important to mention that beforehand. So this is coming from NBCnews.com. So no kissing in Qatar. Fears grow of crackdown on LGBTQ fans at World Cup. Now, before I start the article, even I'm gonna just mention one thing, and even when I'm in like me and my wife when we are around, right? Obviously, we've been in the Middle East for almost 16 years, right? We don't hold hands. We don't kiss and hug in public. Why? Because it's because we understand the culture. We've been here for a while, right? And this is something that is normal. It's a very conservative culture, right? Obviously, people are comfortable to kiss their little kids and babies and all of that, and that's what I feel comfortable with when I'm outside, right? That is what I feel is normal. But if it's going to be adults kissing, even if it's a man and like a husband and wife, it can be frowned upon. Why? Because the culture in Qatar is very conservative, and when in Rome, do like the Romans. So that is just something I want to mention off the bat, because it seems the way this news is, this headline is articulated here, it means that no kissing for LGBTQ fans. It basically the way it's phrased here, right? But as I mentioned, mm, uh, like husband and wives also don't kiss really in public. I can't remember seeing anybody kiss here in public. That's adults. I can remember a lot of adults kissing their kids here. With the FIFA World Cup 2022 around the corner, concerns about how its host country Qatar will treat LGBTQ spectators have come to a head. Right now, Qatar did mention in one of the articles I read. I don't know if it was in the last stream or the stream before that. Everybody is welcome here, regardless of your orientation, right? Sexual orientation. So, but it's important to be. The country is conservative, so you have to. Um, if everybody's very like open in the country where you come from, when you go to a country where things are a little bit more um, restrictive, people are more conservative, it's important to obviously follow and have an understanding of where you're going, right? So yeah, a little bit of a tangent going off topic there. So more than 1 million soccer fans from around the world are expected to gather in Qatar for next month's FIFA World Cup. But as the global competition nears, concerns over how the Gulf nation will treat its LGBTQ visitors are rising. Now, again, this is not my first article that is specifically related to LGBTQ. If I'm not mistaken, it should be LGBTQIA plus. So another news outlet that didn't get the facts straight. The Australian men's soccer team released a video on Wednesday calling Qatar to decriminalize same-sex relationships and improve its treatment of migrant workers. These are basic rights that should be afforded to all and will ensure continued progress in Qatar. One of the players said, "This is how we ensure the legacy that goes well beyond the final whistle of the 2022 FIFA World Cup." Now, my question is, do these people actually know what's happening in Qatar? Because their perspective is skewed with obviously the news, the news the news stations that they are using, right? So that is going to color your perspective, unless they have first-hand experience of uh, workers' rights here, right? So if you are reading a news article that is written by a newspaper with an agenda or doesn't have the facts straight, like we've obviously highlighted already, then your perspective is going to be skewed. So my question is, this dude, whoever he is, I'm sure he's probably somebody famous from the Australian football team. He obviously posted this message that he will not play. But yeah, we obviously read what he said there. So I'm just interested to know where he got his information. On Tuesday, British LGBTQ activist Peter Tatchell stood outside the National Museum of Qatar for 35 minutes holding a sign that read, "Qatar arrests and subjects LGBT to conversion," and wearing a T-shirt that read "Qatar anti-gay." Tatchell, oh wow, very outspoken, Mr. Tatchell, yeah, who was a leading member of the Gay Liberation Front in the United Kingdom, said he was held by Qatar police officers for 49 minutes before being told to leave the country immediately. Qatar government communications office denied that Tatchell was arrested or detained, saying in a statement that Tatchell was cordially asked by officers to leave. So this is a post by this dude. "I've been freed by Qatar police after staging first LGBT plus protest in the homophobic Gulf state." Now, are you doing this because you actually want to improve any? You want to facilitate improvement to your cause, or to further your cause? Because he's saying here that he was the first person staging a LGBT. No, maybe he's just doing it for clout. It's possible. FIFA awarded the World Cup to Qatar, where LGBTs can be jailed or and executed. Qatar anti-gay. Again, yeah, that is what he said. But I mean, look, if he, because in Qatar there's no protest, right? It's a very small country, 300,000 Qataris, and the rest are expats, right? You don't see them rioting or marching across the street. Um, and again, there's a lot of freedom in Qatar, so don't get me wrong, but that's not something that's normal here, right? So the mere fact that this dude was able to do some type of protest, make it public as in spectacle, and he was let off by just being asked to leave the country is already Qatar being very relaxed with him, right? Qatar was basically throwing him a bone. In a sign of solidarity with the LGBT community and a breach of FIFA uniform rules, 8 of Europe's soccer teams joined forces last month and announced that their teams would wear armbands emblazoned with rainbow hearts and "I love" and "One Love" at the international competition. Oh wow, I never knew this. So Germany, "One Love," in a statement against decriminalization and for diversity. Um, Manuel Neuer will wear a special captain's armband for the upcoming League games and during the World Cup in Qatar. Oh wow, okay. So that is it. That is, again, I will add the link in the description. I'm not gonna go through the rest of the article. I think I got the point across. I agree. People won't die if they can't kiss each other in public. I agree too as well. It's something that we are used to, and again, like, we don't hold our hands also, and nothing will happen. I don't think anything will happen if you hold hands, but we are just so used to living in the Middle East, and obviously being aware of what the customs are. You don't want to do anything to offend anybody here, right? It's just being mindful of where you are living. Um, so, like Creature Feature Fan Edits mentioned, nothing's going to happen if you can't kiss and hold hands in public in Qatar, right? You can do that in the comfort of your home. And again, if and it's important for anybody coming to Qatar to obviously read up on the rules and the laws in Qatar, right? Because it's different to other countries, right? Um, Obviously, countries that's a lot more strict than Qatar, but it's also important to have an understanding of what is expected of anybody coming to Qatar, right? You cannot just come here willy nilly and expect anything and everything that you do back home to be okay in Qatar. So, and you have to adjust, right? That's important, and I think that's the main thing that I would just urge anybody coming across this video: read up on what the rules and regulations are in Qatar. And obviously, Qatar will be relaxed, like this dude here, that was doing his soul protest here in Qatar, that was asked to leave. That is not allowed, right? And he knew it was not allowed because it seemed like he wanted to also be one of the first people to do it, right? To do that specific protest. Who's in the house? I know Creature Feature Fan Ed is still here. Shout out whoever else is here. And I think that is it. If I don't have any questions from the live chat, then I think at that point we will just call it a day. Anybody? What do you guys think of my new lights? I just fixed these this week, so it hopefully gives a little bit of flavor to my background. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm not gonna waste your time any longer. We have survived 39 minutes and 56 seconds. So I'm actually going to wait like 3 seconds. Wait 3 seconds. So we've survived officially 40 minutes in this live stream. And thank you to everybody that was able to watch it live. And if you do what happen to come across it after it's been live, please drop a comment in the comment section below. And if you want to be up to date with similar content in the future, smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next broadcast. And one thing I want to mention before I go, I have not been uploading a lot of vlogs, so I'm starting to just edit some of them, and I have quite a lot of vlogs coming through the pipeline soon. So stay tuned for that as well. In addition to obviously the weekly live streams. So thank you so much to everybody that was able to join the live stream. Thank you, Creature Feature Fan Edits, and I will see you guys in the next stream.